All good. So I will be retiring from cricket with immediate effect. Yeah, it's been a really tough decision, something that I've been thinking about and obviously having to process for a sort of a while now. But yeah, no, I will be retiring from the game.
How long has it taken you to come to that decision?
Well, I guess I've had a bit of a torrid time over the last couple of years, but I have been really motivated to, keep trying to get back to where I want to be. But unfortunately, the reoccurrence of my back injury again in the summer just gone, and I haven't been able to get back from that. So, it's taken a while for the realization that I'm not going to be able to get back out there on the park. But no, I have, it's something that I've had to speak to a lot of people about, obviously the medical teams and the people closest to me. So yeah, it's something that I've not taken lightly, but yeah, it's something that I've known for a little while now.
And how difficult was that decision to tell, your friends, your family, obviously who'll have supported you throughout your career, to kind of give it that finite call, right, I'm done?
It was difficult in a way, but I think everyone closest to me kind of realised, what I had been going through, I guess, not to sound too dramatic, but so I think, it was really tough in particular, telling my family, but obviously they were with me. They've been with me the whole time, and I couldn't have done sort of the highs and lows without them. And then I guess telling the Surrey team, it was quite emotional actually. It was difficult telling all the people that have been so influential in my career, but also the closest to me understood the reasoning for retiring.
Through that whole period of your career, obviously the difficult challenges in the last 3 or 4 years with injuries, but also, I guess, through the whole playing career, the ups and downs of a playing career, how important has it been to have the support of your friends and your family?
Hugely, really. Can't really put it into words, I guess, but in particular my family, they kind of go through those highs and lows with you. They have the amazing times of sort of following you around the world, and then obviously, the tough times of the injury. So from the very start, when my mum was sort of taking me all around the country, and my dad and my brothers have just been so supportive. And then also my friends, obviously everyone says that you sacrifice a lot, especially when I was at the end of my school and also at uni. And they stuck by me even though I've missed their birthdays and weddings and stuff like that. So yeah, it's hard to put it into words, but I'm just so grateful that I have had that support outside of the cricket network. And yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do everything that I've done without them.
And through those difficult periods, what was it that kept you motivated? What kept you working hard to get yourself back to fitness?
Just love cricket, I guess. I love playing. I also love the grind. I've always loved training and working really hard. I've prided myself on that throughout. Yeah, I think it hasn't... At times, obviously, it's been tough, but, I've been so lucky to play cricket as my job for 12 years professionally now. I think I've got that right. So, yeah, at times, it, just felt natural that I wanted to get back out there on the park. And, yeah, just the support of, all the teammates and coaches and medical staff that I've had. So, yeah, I look at it more on the fact that I've been so lucky to play this game as a job for a good amount of time now.
So let's take you back. You make an England debut as a 17-year-old. I guess tell us first. Actually, tell us about your journey into cricket. How did you start playing, and then take us up to that point where all of a sudden you're having your cap handed over to you by one of the greats of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it all happened quite quickly, but I just got into cricket. I sort of moved to England when I was about 8 years old, and I didn't even know what cricket was really. Just started playing at school and at club and also at Kent. So just sort of fell into the game and then sort of went through the ranks and got into the England Academy when I was about 16. And then, yeah, it kind of all happened really quickly from there. Obviously, there was a few injuries to sort of the greats like Catherine Brunt and Anya Shrubsole, so I sort of fast-tracked into that England side when I was 17 and made my debut at Loughborough in 2013. And as you said, Charlotte Edwards giving me my cap, so I'll remember that obviously for a very long time. And yeah, I just feel, I don't know if I took it sort of in at the time, but looking back on it is just such a proud moment for me.
And then 2014, there's the first tranche of central contracts are handed out. You're the youngest recipient of a central contract. Did you take that in? Did you realise actually this is quite a big moment, that I'm one of a handful of professional
women's cricketers in the country? I think I did take it in, just more so because of my peers that had almost worked much harder than me, obviously having to sort of do the coaching and also the training sort of after they've done long hours of coaching. So I think I did at the time realise what a momentous occasion those first central contracts were, because of the role models that I had above me, in particular sort of Lydia Greenway, Laura Marsh and also Lottie, and sort of seeing how hard they had worked to get to that point. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight in my career for sure. And looking through that time representing England, what were some of the highlights for you? I really remember my first tour to the West Indies, and I just remember playing my first game sort of abroad at the Oval in Barbados. So that was something that will stick out, and obviously the World Cup squads that I've been in throughout the years, and then the back-to-back Ashes squads, obviously winning the Ashes overseas and then winning it back at home. So, you know, those things that I will remember for a long time. Obviously being part of the World Cup squads and Ashes squads is something that is really special to me. I obviously would have liked to have played a bit more for England, but, you know, it was a pretty hard team to get into, and obviously what happened with my injuries at the end. And I guess the most proud thing for me will be that I obviously lost my England contract in 2019, I think, and then I regained it back in 2021, and there was no domestic structure underneath at that time, so I went to a school, Trent College, and I sort of coached there and also worked on my game alongside that. So for me, that was a proud moment to sort of lose that contract and then work really hard to get that back. Again, that's a sort of a resilience that's probably been a bit of a trademark throughout your career, is to deal with those highs and those lows. But probably some other highs would have been within the domestic setup, your time with the Vipers, winning plenty of trophies through the KSL era. Just tell us a little bit about that and almost how transformative that was, having, obviously you've had your central contract, but to see that increase in profile for the game, but also seeing more opportunities for women's cricketers of all ages really to start playing at a high level. Yeah, I mean, the KSL was great. Obviously, that was sort of the tournament that we had in this country, sort of back at that time, almost before the 100. Obviously, playing at the Vipers, played in a really strong side. Obviously, the first time we had overseas, so that was something that was sort of new and also really exciting. So yeah, I think, you know, the different stages that we've had in domestic cricket, I've almost seen quite a few of them. So yeah, the KSL was a great time, but I think just the rapid rate that everything has increased on a domestic level in this country, and it does mean a lot to me because of I have sort of gone from England back into the domestic structure, back to England, and then back to the domestic structure again. So just the way that, you know, how things have increased domestically in this country it's just been almost incredible to be a part of, really. And 2020, you join the South East Stars after the KSL ends. Tell us about that time. Obviously, there's some early success. You were captain in years 1 and 2, I think, and yeah, just tell us about that period and how that felt. Did that feel like a marked change, or how did that all sit in the domestic structure? Yeah, I guess it was just a natural progression, really, to make sure there was more funding and more structure. And you know, as you say, I was captain. I loved being captain of this side. I say this side because obviously the South East Stars went into Surrey. So yeah, and then obviously being vice captain from there. So I loved the South East Stars. It was a brilliant time. They really supported me through those tricky times as well, and I think also it was just really important for the girls that weren't in the international setup to make sure that they deserved that sort of professional training as well. So more that sort of side of making sure, you know, all of these really brilliant cricketers in this country were getting sort of what they deserve from a training point of view, I guess. And then the 100 comes along in 2021 and almost supercharges the whole thing. And yourself here at the Oval were at the forefront of that in the first 2 years, winning it back to back for the Oval Invincibles, leading wicket taker in the first year. Talk us through that. Talk us through how that felt. Did that feel like a real step change? Yeah, it did. I remember the first game being here against the Manchester Originals and the fireworks going up and everyone was just like looking up, just thinking this is amazing. And also being so nervous because obviously we haven't played in front of sort of a packed crowd like that before. Well, I hadn't anyway. And so yeah, the 100 has just been a game changer, hasn't it? And yeah, that will be one of my highlights, if not my biggest highlight in my career actually, playing the Eliminator here at the Oval, turning that game around and then playing obviously in a final at Lord's. And I remember sort of seeing my family there at the end after we'd won and everyone was so emotional. That was a huge momentous occasion. And obviously I was proud about how I sort of performed in that competition as well. So yeah, that is something that I will look back really fondly.
And then into the most recent stage when the South East Stars became Surrey. How did you feel about that change, and then how have you enjoyed being part of the dressing room here?
Yeah, it's been great. Surrey have, really just almost really gone for making sure they put everything into the women's side. And yeah, I've loved it. Obviously, being vice captain here, and we've similar team from the South East Stars, and well, most importantly, being at the Oval, being welcomed in. Everyone, all the staff, all the players have been so friendly, and yeah, just turning up here every single day is ridiculous, really. And just little things like I've never had a locker before. I've never had my own locker, and sort of turning up to the changing room on our first day. And having that locker there with your name and your number on it, just those little things are really important. And I really hope that I can sort of stay connected with Surrey as well going forward, because they have really supported me, and that's why I made this decision so hard, because I love being part of this team and this club. But no, I think Surrey are just going to go from strength to strength.
In the last couple of years, whilst you have been struggling with your back injuries, there's been a emergence of Tash Farrant gun batter. A couple of, I think it was two 90s in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint wearing a South East Stars shirt. Cass will reliably tell me that you had the highest strike rate of any Surrey batter in the Blast last year.
No, sorry, any batter.
Any batter, full stop.
You have the highest strike rate in the 25 Vitality Blast.
I mean, that is... Well, I'm going to hold on to that one. Highest strike rate, gosh. Well, I guess I was so injured, the only thing I could do was bat, really, so I worked really hard, and I guess it's a good time now to sort of mention Mibes. He has been so influential in sort of the back end of my career, and a real role model, and hopefully a friend going forward. And yeah, I just guess I put in the work, really, and then also having the staff sort of believe in me as a player, like all round, not just a bowler. But yeah, no, just wanted to mention Mibes there, because he'll hate this, but yeah, he's been so influential to me, and has just really supported me through everything.
We've looked back over the course of your career, and through that have seen how the women's game has changed. What would you say to a young Tash Farrant picking up a bat and ball for the first time? What would you say to her about the journey she's about to have?
Well, yeah, it's a bit eventful. It's been eventful, but yeah, no, I'm so proud. When I was growing up, and I didn't even know that there was women's cricket, really. So to play for England and have a 12-year career in the game, well, I just wouldn't have even thought that was possible, really, from how I started. So yeah, just to be really proud, and yeah, I've been so lucky with all the teams that I've been a part of, the dressing rooms and the support, and just playing cricket for my job. It's ridiculous when you put it like that, really. So yeah, just to sort of, I will be really proud of what I've achieved, I guess.
Is there anybody that you'd like to thank?
I guess just almost everyone, all the dressing rooms that I've been in, all the players and all the coaches, in particular, the medical staffs that have got me through, the last 3 or 4 years, and then obviously everyone at Surrey who has welcomed me in, and has made this this decision even more difficult, and then obviously my family and my friends who have just been with me for all the amazing times, and also the tricky times as well. So I couldn't have done anything without them.
one chapter closes. Unfortunately, you will no longer be a professional cricketer out there. But what does the future hold?
Yeah, I'm obviously really hoping to stay involved in the game. Obviously, it's a game that I love and has given me so many different opportunities. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to hanging up my spikes now and looking forward to the future.